Alrighty, everyone. Got some fight announcements that may or may not be 100% happening yet. We have real Kevin K reporting on this, so take it with a grain of salt, of course. Islam Makhachev versus Ilya Topuria, he says, is 100% happening. Location and date still be confirmed, TBA or whatever. I don't know what the hell TBA means. I'm gonna be honest. To be confirmed is probably what he should say instead. But anyways, Islam versus Ilya. Now, on one hand, I'm happy this fight is happening, but on the other hand, I'm not happy of the narrative of Islam fighting, like smaller guys or whatever. Although, and this might be a hot take, that's probably the best person to beat him, honestly. A smaller guy who's faster, can scramble, less likely to get laid on. Being a smaller person versus a big person on top of you, kind of have some more ways to exit if you know how to do it. Obviously, if you're not skilled, if a bigger person lays on top of you, you're not going to know what to do. Ilya Topuria is going to know what to do. He's got that Georgian wrestling, and I think he's going to be able to scramble fairly well against Islam. The main thing is going to be the power and the striking between the both of them. And that's something, if we see Ilya Topuria put on a little bit of extra muscle for 155 and do his thing, man, he's got, out of everyone in the UFC, he's got the best opportunity to beat Islam Makhachev, especially by KO or TKO. There's a big chance Ilya Topuria could knock him out or TKO him. And I know, this could sound absolutely crazy. Islam getting knocked out or TKO'd. He's been knocked out before. Sure, was it a fluke punch? Sure, you can call it that. At the end of the day, a hand connected to his chin and he went to sleep. He's human, guys. Khabib fans and Dagestani fans like to pretend these guys are invincible. Wouldn't mind Ilya reminding them that Islam is just as human as they are. So yeah, that'd be great. I'd have Topuria winning, and I'd want him to win too. Be a great double champ moment. It would really it would really heighten Ilya Topuria's star potential, which is something that we really need right now in the UFC. I saw Ariel Helwani post about how there's no real star or like big name in the UFC. We kind of have a bunch of like scattered little names, and they're definitely MMA stars, but are they celebrities? And that's the big thing, because Conor McGregor is really the only celebrity in the UFC right now. And yes, he started off as a fighter, but lately he's been a celebrity. He does celebrity things. So I'm referring to him as a celebrity because hasn't really been fighting anymore. So can I really call him a fighter if he hasn't been fighting or training or anything like that? I mean, I'm sure he trains, but he hasn't been training for a camp. So yeah, he's just kind of been a celebrity right now, and for that reason, I think Ilya Topuria has a really good chance to become not a celebrity, but like the same level Conor was when he beat Jose Aldo. Being Islam Makhachev would be that step to do so. But yeah, I would have Ilya Topuria either round 3 or round 4, KO or TKO, kind of like how he did Max Holloway. But again, we'd have to see how he does against the wrestling and stuff. So that's the big question. Personally, I think he does good, but there is still some doubt in a lot of people's minds as far as to how good he will do in that wrestling department against Islam. But anyways, if that happens, probably one of the biggest fights of the year. So hopefully it does happen. Hopefully we get it July or June. Hopefully sooner too, because Makhachev took no damage in his fight against Renato Moicano. So if anything, he should be fighting in the next 3 or 4 months, because that's what a good champion would do. But Islam only wants to fight 1 or 2 times a year, so sucks for him. Anyways, moving on, we got our next fight announcement. Now this is not MMA, but this is fighting related, and it is big news. Again, this is not completely confirmed. I have not seen an official post from either Canelo or Jake Paul about this. So apparently there is already an agreement for Canelo Alvarez to fight Jake Paul and Cinco de Mayo. That would be, again, a huge fight in boxing. As much as people hate Jake Paul and don't like him, he is one of the biggest names in boxing. Sorry to break it to you. I don't like this future either that we're living in, where Jake Paul is one of the biggest names in boxing. It definitely degrades the sport for Jake Paul to be this high of name and not have fought like and got a real record and stuff. That I think he's still like 11-1 or whatever. And he's fought retired UFC fighters, like some actual bums, some no-name bums that he's fought and knocked out. That just, just happened to happen pretty much. Tommy Fury beat him, which is not good. If Tommy Fury beats you, your future in boxing is not the brightest, especially against real top competition. The thing I hate about this, too, is that Jake Paul is bigger than Canelo. And I even hate to think that there's a chance that Jake Paul could somehow get even a moral victory over Canelo. Because a moral victory for him would be to go like a couple rounds with Canelo and be like, hey, I went a couple rounds with the best guy. Hopefully it's a first round TKO or KO for Canelo. But yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't like these top guys wanting to fight Jake Paul. I never liked Conor saying that he wanted to fight Jake Paul, Logan Paul. I don't like Canelo saying that he's going to fight Jake Paul, Logan Paul. I don't like any of these top guys saying that they want to fight Jake Paul. But at the end of the day, they want money, F legacy, right? I mean, why go down in history, as not having to fight this kid and have kind of a stain on your legacy fighting this guy. When you can make a lot of money. So money is what Canelo's going to go with, and that's what he's going to get. If this fight actually ends up happening, this isn't really even confirmed yet. That's why I'm going to put question marks on the Ilya Topuria Makhachev and the Canelo Jake Paul thing, because it's not entirely confirmed. So yeah. Of course, I would have Canelo to win, but again, I wouldn't want Jake Paul to get any kind of moral victory from this. So if they do fight, hopefully first round KO or TKO for Canelo. Gets him out of there, make short work of the night. Be really hilarious if he did like a 5-minute walkout and then just knocks out Jake Paul in like the opening exchange. But that's the thing too, right? It's like, what are the weight classes? Are they gonna do 185? Because Jake Paul fought at heavyweight last, and Canelo, I think he normally fights around 170, 160-ish. So again, just stupid. I hate these so much. These are so stupid, and I hope that these boxers end up regretting fighting this guy and end up learning their lesson. But whatever, make your money. It's your life at the end of the day, not mine. I'm just saying, me personally, I wouldn't give Jake Paul the chance. But anyways, moving on to our last bit of news, we have a bit of a Sean Strickland rant here today. So let's go ahead and listen.
That little the Chechen horse Chimaev. Hey, we need to talk about this. One more thing before we get out of here. We need to talk about Mr. Chimaev. All right? Let's talk about this fucking guy. I keep hearing Chimaev this, Chimaev this, Chimaev that, but what does the history and facts say about Chimaev? And you guys are media, you should know this. Chimaev fled Chechnya with his family because, an oppressive warlord dictator that killed people indiscriminately. No hate on him. It's your country. He goes back to Chechnya. He goes back to Chechnya because somebody wants to buy him a G-Wagon. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll be that whore. I'll do it. I'll fucking bend the knee for you, man. I like fucking G-Wagons. And then what happens? The leash gets way too tight. And you know what? I think the U.S. government kind of looks at him like a terrorist now. Why? Because people get murdered all the time in Chechnya and they completely violate human rights. So now Chimaev's scared as shit. Like, oh man, dude, I wanted to be a whore, but I didn't want to go full tip. Now he fucking flees to like somewhere in the sand pit. And now he's hiding out in the sand pit. And now what does he do? Fucking Chimaev, what does he do? He has a Bitcoin fucking scam, and he scams all his fans. And let me tell you guys something. I had the same Bitcoin scam offered to me. It was like 200,000. And I was like, fuck you, dude. I'm not going to scam that. But that's what Chimaev did. So, yeah, Chimaev, you can fight. You can fight. You got a beard. But let history record it as, you, sir, are a whore. You fled a country, you went back and you got buddy with a dictator and you fled again. Doesn't matter how good of a fighter you are and will always be a fucking whore.
Okay, now that was a lot there. And whatever you think about Sean Strickland, love him or hate him, he's 100% right about Chimaev here. And that's something I wanted to talk about with Chimaev is he's completely undeserving of fighting for the title. I know he got that first round submission against Robert Whittaker, big hype guy and stuff like that, but if I gotta be honest, Nasruddin Imavov totally deserves that title shot much more than Chimaev. Especially with the way Chimaev has just overall carried himself and treated the UFC, being 8 pounds overweight for a main event, getting the whole card switched up. Again, like he said with the, I forget that Chechen dictator's name or whatever. I don't even know if it's a Chechen guy. I think it's someone else that Chimaev goes and hangs out with. Anyways, it's one of those Russian proxy war dictatorship kind of countries or whatever that Khamzat goes and hangs out at. And this guy he hangs out with, Kadyrov, I think that's his name. Bad guy. Really bad guy. Kills people, has journalists killed. Name all the bad things that a dictator can do. The dude does them on a regular basis. And this guy's also had, some UFC, Henry Cejudo, Justin Gaethje, and stuff like that. He's had him over to his place for, like, his son's party or whatever. But Khamzat Chimaev just seems to be, like, a constant buddy with this guy. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. You look up Khamzat Chimaev with this guy, and you can literally find pictures with him riding around in a car, doing a sparring session, and just tons of other things that Khamzat's doing probably against his will, if I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, not like it's against his will to go there, but like, if he'd prefer to not have to suck up to a Russian dictator, I'm pretty sure he would do that. Not suck up to him if he had to. But for the reason of Khamzat's aligning himself with these people and hanging around with these people, this is the situation he now finds himself in with, unfortunately, probably being barred from entering the U.S. in a lot of cases. And, it's just not a good idea to be buddy-buddy with a Russian dictator that has killed people before and that you receive gifts and stuff like that from. Because once you get that, like Sean Strickland said, once you get that G-Wagon and a couple of other little gifts and toys from him, you're going to be expected to be nice to that guy and be buddy-buddy with him for the rest of the time. Even if that's at the cost of you fighting and doing your thing, I mean, what's Khamzat going to do? Say no? Probably get his toes and hands cut off the next day if he said no to hanging out with that guy. So I'm just really disappointed with how Khamzat has he had a really fun rise. He fought like 4 or 5 times that one year. Different weight classes too, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, I just really agree with Sean Strickland here on Khamzat being a sellout, as a nicer word than what Sean Strickland described him as. Because yeah, the biggest thing too is the crypto scam, and if you didn't see that, I recommend looking it up. I might do a video breaking down the whole Khamzat, Kadyrov, and crypto scam thing, because honestly, it's kind of a good idea for a video. But yeah, and then like we only hear from Khamzat maybe once in a while when he tweets, and it's normally when a champion wins and he's like, "I'm next, brother," and it's normally pretty cringe. I mean, he said that about Alex Pereira. He said that about so many other different people, where he's like, "Oh, now I'm coming and I'm going to beat you," and it's like, bro, you need to beat these terrorist allegations first. Not that, Khamzat is like allegedly a terrorist, but he does hang out with a Russian dictator who probably use terrorism on his citizens to make sure they're all aligned. Because isn't terrorism technically using any sort of force or power to make someone believe or do something politically? I don't know the whole definition. Either way, not a good guy to hang around with, and bad idea for Khamzat to hang around this guy. And yeah, totally agreeing with Sean Strickland on this one. Hate or love Sean Strickland. I know a lot of people dislike him because he says some absolutely crazy, stupid things sometimes. Personally, I kind of like some of the stuff he says. I'm not the biggest fan of his fighting style, to be honest. But there have been times where Sean Strickland has gone for finishes and had some good fights. So let's not pretend like Sean Strickland is only keeps jabs and stuff like that. Kind of a stupid thing from fans, but anyways, that's kind of my reaction to those announcements and the whole Sean Strickland Khamzat news. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you have a great rest of your night. I'll see you next time.